I mean, hopefully it's about making people and companies better. I hope that whatever we talk about in these podcasts resonate with the audience and help them believe, help them identify that they have challenges like we all do, help them try to be better each and every day like myself and others around me are trying to do. And our version of better, right? It's not, you don't get to define better for me. I get to define better for me. So I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to try to be better than I was yesterday. And I'm going to try to help the people and the companies that work with me do the same. As a kid, nobody, I don't think, probably grows up thinking they're going to be a business consultant. I was a typical kid. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a lawyer. I think getting to the business consultant part became the journey of my life, starting with first having incredible parents and then the tennis. And the tennis was just a way for my parents to nurture and give me independence and believe in myself, travel the country, see things that my peers were not experiencing. Every bit of tennis was a piece of me from the time I started playing at 8 years old. And it was the backdrop of my childhood. My parents were athletes, and they played tennis. And in fact, it's an interesting story. My dad won a tennis tournament. He won 6 or 8 free lessons. And I was the younger of 2 siblings. My sister was 8, and I was 6. And traditionally, I think my dad was closer to my sister. I was mama's baby, and there was my sister with my dad. And I think traditionally, people would have given those lessons to the oldest kid. Right. But we were always at tennis courts and racquetball courts, and my parents I'd go play racquetball while they'd play tennis. Mm-hmm. And one of the instructors was like, your kid has tremendous hand-eye coordination. So my dad, which is an absolute fork in the road in my life, gave me those tennis lessons and not my sister. And at 8 years old, I took my first tennis lesson at Brookhaven Country Club in Dallas, Texas, on court 9, which is my lucky number. And that was it. I took that first lesson, and I was a tennis player from that day forward. The incident that happened at 13 years old was really where I'm not mad at you became a really prevalent part of my life. And probably it wasn't articulated as I'm not mad at you at that point. But in hindsight, in forming this business and looking at my life and articulating this company, I know this moment in my life was pivotal. At 13, as you said, I got caught cheating on a math test. I had missed the week of school. It was geometry week. I had missed the entire week of school, so I was not familiar with the content. I went in to go take the makeup test, and I had been given the answer key from a friend beforehand. So I ripped through it and answered as I had the answer key. And when it got time to get to class, my teacher called me out of class and she said, do you have something to tell me? And I'm like, no, I don't have anything to tell you. And she's like, do you have something to tell me? And I was like, or we can go talk to the principal. And I said, I fessed. I go, I cheated on the math test. I used the answer key, So she looks at me and she says, okay, well, I need a letter from your parents knowing that you cheated, and you're going to you got one right. So you're going to get a 10, and that's counting for your score. And you got to get a letter from your parents. So bringing in tennis, I practiced every day. We had a junior development at our country club every Monday and Wednesday. My dad had come that day to watch me finish watching practice. And girls played boys played girls. We played on a ladder, so it was competition. And that day I ended up playing a boy my age who was considered on par with my tennis level, and I beat him, and my dad watched me. And we're walking out to the parking lot, and my dad's really, really proud of me. And I'm like, this is the time. Drop the bomb. My dad was the disciplinarian. My mom was the nurturer. So it was like even if I had told my mom, it was still getting my dad. So we're in the parking lot. He's real proud of me. He's beaming. And I look at him, I said, Dad, I have to tell you something. I cheated on my math test today, and I got a 10, and the grade's going to count, but I need a letter from you that says I did this. And my dad just pulls me in with his arm, and he tells me he's really, really proud of me. And he said, look, we've all cheated. We've all done stuff like that. But the fact that you told me and that you owned it and you said you did something wrong is all I care about. And so again, while I don't think I stamped down at 13 years old and recognized that was the moment that, set my mindset about how to handle things in life, that was absolutely the moment I'm Not Mad at You became a part of how I lived life. In fact, my mom did not know this story until I think I was in college. In the process of working for corporate America, I probably managed over 5,000 people, and empathy is a huge component of leadership, and it was not by any means my strength. Tennis wasn't, teaching me empathy. Competition in school and growing up wasn't teaching me empathy. I wasn't naturally empathetic. I was actually naturally, a bulldog. As you said, I was coming in tearing walls apart. So in 2003, I was running a team nationally across the country, and there was over 500 people. And as I tell people, when you're in that position, you don't pick up the phone and it's a phone call to tell you everything is fine. You don't read an email for them to tell you everything's fine. In that position, all you're actually ever hearing pretty much every day is some type of bad news or challenge or opportunity for you to solve. And in that, you also realize the amount of strife out in the world. And so what I had known up to that point in my life was the problems that happened to me. And there weren't a lot. So you don't recognize how, okay, this problem came up, this problem would arise, you figure it out, you solve it, it's all clean. But when you got 500 people coming to you every day, you realize like Nanny's aunt pops a tire and this person's friend gets cancer and this person's aunt was killed in a car wreck. You're getting that call every day. And then at the same time, you want to be empathetic to those situations. You also know you're responsible to a client like Reckitt Benckiser who sells Lysol and all these international brands that have to be on the shelf at Walmart on Monday, June 7th for their international launch, right? So you're balancing, wow, these people are going through a lot on a daily basis. And yet I still need to try to figure out a way to motivate them. In 2003, it became solid to me in helping all those people. I was probably going to do something. The word coach at that time was a word we started using, and life coach at that time started becoming known in the world. So it was probably at that point I knew there would be something. I sure didn't know it was going to be I'm Not Mad at You, and it wasn't being called business consulting, but I knew at that point it became clear to me that I was going to do something. I'm still working for corporate America in 2014. I'm not coaching. Okay. I am, at this point, from 2003 to 2014, the idea is for sure cementing. I was in a partnership at the time, and we were trying to conceive a child. So it was at this point, it was really coming strong that I still didn't know I wanted to start a consulting or coaching company called I'm Not Mad at You, but I definitely knew at that time I was going to become a coach in some capacity. And at the same time, I was trying to conceive a child with my partner at the time. And I was asked a lot of times, like, why don't you start the company now? Why don't you start the company now? I'm like, you can't try to have a baby and start a company at the same time. And with two women, it's financially taxing to try to have a baby. So my funds and money was going into trying to conceive a child, of which we were not successful. As I know where you were leading me to, because, I'm Not Mad at You never gets conceived if I don't have a breaking point in my life and to relate to other people. I always say it to people, I had this childhood, I had the tennis, I had a corporate America career. It all was pretty seamless and pretty flawless. And of course I had childhood trauma and incidences and difficult things and challenges in my life and obstacles I had overcome. But I used the word break. I had not probably been, in my terminology, I had not been broken before. And I would definitely say this moment in my life broke me. I didn't believe in myself. Not cool. For 3 or 4 months, because of a result of us not being pregnant, our relationship ended. And as I say to people, from the ashes of the legacy of a child not happening, I'm Not Mad at You was born. We consult small to mid-sized businesses primarily. You're a construction company owner. You start a construction company. You know what you know? You know construction. You know how to build a house. You know how to fix a multifamily apartment building. You know what you don't know how to do? Finance, marketing, HR, legal things, compliance. You know how to build a house. We've consulted 6 different construction companies. And you know what I can't do? I can't build a bird box, but I can look at sales, marketing, management, and leadership in any company, which, by the way, those are the 4 pillars of every single company. If you got a problem in one of those 4, you have a problem. So I want the construction company to run the construction company and go build those houses. What we can do is help with all those other things that they did not become experts in. Where did they get their hours? So we take our hours and we apply our hours and we help them to traditionally small and mid-sized businesses to help them become better. We do 3 things. And it runs throughout our brand. It runs throughout my life. It runs through everything we do. Number 1, we wake up and we try to be better every single day than we were the day before. We try to help facilitate that with our clients as well, that mindset. Their version of better. Not my definition, not anyone else's definition. Be better than you were yesterday. Chess, your relationship, your job, pick it. Be better. Number 2, we try to help people recognize we all have challenges. We all do. There's not a single person that you're going to encounter that's not having challenges. You may not know what they are, but they got them. So you got to identify them. Then you have to have steps to overcome those challenges. Then you simply have to execute typically those steps to overcome the challenges. As long as it's a well thought out plan and you're not delusional, you're going to fix your problem. And the third thing is we're sitting there with you to overcome those challenges, right? And the last and the single most important thing in all of our lives, business, personal, it doesn't matter. You have to believe to succeed. It starts and ends with believing. So if we do anything with our clients, when they're down in the dumps, when they don't believe that this process will work, when they don't think they can fix their company, when they don't think they can make an employee listen to them, we're there to tell them, if you believe, you will succeed. If you do not believe, you will not. It's that simple. You have to believe in order to achieve any single thing you're ever going to want in life. Hands down, mic drop, done.